Alice is with us in Canada. Hi, Alice. How are you?
Hi, good. How are both of you?
Great. How can Dr. John and me help?
I think you're the perfect ones to help me. So I was in a difficult marriage for a long time, and it was especially hard to leave because I didn't have access to the funds in the marriage. So finally, I got myself out, and over years, I rebuilt my finances and established freedom financially. And now I'm in a relationship and have been for years, and we're talking about marriage. And now I'm in the position where I make a lot more money. And I do believe, as you do, that sharing finances is important, but it kind of scares me to potentially lose control again, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes a
So
lot
I
of
was
sense.
wondering what you would say.
Makes a lot of sense. So what do you make and what's he make?
I make about $650, and he makes about $150.
What do you do?
650?
I'm a doctor.
Oh, you're
I'm
a
a
doc.
doctor.
Wow. So impressive. Good for you. You said that
Yeah.
so casually, like I make a little bit more than him, and then you just boom. Yeah. So that's amazing. Congratulations. Okay.
650.
Well, I do not recommend prenuptial agreements except in situations where the differences are extreme, and the differences here are extreme.
Okay.
And so I would recommend a prenuptial agreement. Another example would be I was talking to a young lady who had inherited $8 million, and she's marrying her high school boyfriend who had never had $8. And nothing wrong with the marriage. You can go ahead and do that. But yeah, because what happens is this. The money, in your case it's income, or in her case it was a pile of money, does not necessarily make you weird or your husband weird, but somewhere in one of your families, weird is going to be exaggerated because of this. And it's going to influence and impact. And if you've got this shield of a prenup, it sets the boundaries a little more firmly. And I do recommend that to help you with that. I tell you what, can you hold through the break? I want John to speak to this as well, because he's probably got something a lot wiser to say than me giving you a tactical thing. So, because there's emotions tied to this too that we need to address. So hang with me through the break. We're talking with Alice in Canada, $650,000 income. Her boyfriend, potential husband, makes $150,000. She's concerned about the differences. I said going into the break that because the differences are so great, she might want to consider a prenup, because that amount of money activates crazy up and down the family tree like nothing else does, and it's good to have that in place. I don't recommend a prenup any other time, but I do in rare circumstances, and this is one of them. So, but Alice, you're back with us. Is that a fair summary of what you told us so far?
Yeah, I think I realize, though, a lot of it is concern in me that isn't necessarily valid. So, and I think it relates to my past experience. So I don't know if it's reasonable.
So, yeah, let me tell you this. Any one of these feelings based on past experiences is not only valid, it's important that you listen to that, your past history, your past experiences, and they inform your steps going forward. You just expressed one of the biggest challenges that women face in broken relationships is that economic insecurity. And so you ground it out, and now you are making most of the known world jealous with the success you've had financially. But that demon, that fear you're going to have, that's going to be with you for a long time. And so the challenge you're going to have coming to this new marriage is to both honor your past and learn from those experiences, set up ways where you're going to be safe moving forward, and at the same time, don't force your new husband, your new partner, to carry that baggage, because that's not his to carry with you, right? His is to join with you in your new adventure that y'all are making together. So, man, your past experiences are super valid, super valid. Those fears are real, real, real. Don't make him carry that bag for you, right?
Yeah, that's so set in place what you would consider what will be emotionally uncomfortable, the sharing of money, as long as there's a normal, healthy relationship going. And you share, of course, when you're married, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health. Unto thee all my worldly goods I pledge, the old-fashioned marriage vows say. And so, what we're doing is we're joining in so many ways. We're joining households. We're joining in spirit. We're joining. We're becoming one. And you want to do that with your money as well. That's going to be decidedly uncomfortable for you. And he needs to know that, and he needs to honor the fact that you're going to be uncomfortable doing that, and he can't give you any reason. He's got to be very hyper attentive to not give you any reason to become more uncomfortable.
Alice, are you weirded out that you make more money than him?
I'm not.
Okay.
No, and he's not. And I think he even leans toward, if you're uncomfortable, then we don't have to combine. But I think that feels worse.
No, yeah, you need definitely to combine.
I don't want to live on a different budget,
No, I think it's he just says, hey, my wife has a valid scar, a wound, a tender place, and I've got to honor that in the way that we do combine. Is that and you just got to talk about it more. I'll give you an example in my life that's similar and yet not. Okay, Sharon and I lost everything. We had a brand new baby, a toddler. We almost killed each other. We came within an inch of a divorce. Okay.
Mhm.
Can you imagine with that scar in our past, almost 30 years ago, how important the emergency fund is to her? To a woman who was terrorized by her husband's idiocy with money, right?
Right.
So, and so she's got that scar. So I have to honor that wound that I actually caused, okay? But I have to honor that wound by having an emergency fund for the emergency fund. We don't even walk near the drawer where the paperwork is kept. It's on the other end of the house. You're not allowed to go on that end of the house. I mean, it's like this thing, it means so much more emotionally and relationally than simply a little bit of money in an account in case there's an emergency, because I'm honoring that wound, albeit a very old wound now, but still, if you ask her today, she can remember it. Her throat gets tight. You can see her eyes change. A cloud comes across them. So we just I can't do things that remind her of that, because she starts to think we're going to go back there again, right? And so that's the kind of thing I'm talking about here, is you look for some practical way to do that. And I would do a prenup, which will also give you some comfort, but it will not heal this. What heals this is you might even really get some real detailed, in-depth pre-marriage counseling and kind of map out some of this stuff on how you're going to work together. Mm-hmm. It's a great question, by the way.
Yeah, it's lovely. And Alice, so Dave, you mind if I use your and Sharon's situation?
Have at it.
So where often this plays out, and that response to that scar can make injuries across the house is, let's take Sharon for instance. She may feel like this emergency fund isn't where it needs to be. We had to get into the emergency fund, but that comes out with, oh, Dave, you're just going out with the boys again. Or, oh, I guess I have to cook again. It ends up coming out in different places when really it's an honest conversation that we need to have about the money part. And so I think what's real important for you and your future husband to do is to identify moments when it's not the fact that he was late getting home. It's not the fact that he hasn't done the insurance paperwork yet. It's the fact that scar hurts, and you need to be able to articulate that and be direct with him about that, so that it doesn't shoot out in other areas.
Transference.
It distracts you from the real issue, which is historical pain. That's real.
Wow. That's good.
And congrats to you, Alice.
Yeah. And by the way, let me just tell you, number one cause of divorce in America today, y'all listening, is money and money fights, right? So let's pretend you got one of those divorces. It's number one cause. And then you get ready to get remarried. Mm-hmm. You're going to have the exact same thing she's dealing with.
Right. And it's a scale issue. Having $800,000 doesn't make that problem
go
away.
No, it makes it magnified.
That's exactly.
But it doesn't make it go away.
Right.
And so, I mean, it doesn't matter, if your husband, your wife, whatever. My wife, I've had people calling, my wife was a spender. She spent us into oblivion, and now I'm scared the new lady's going to do that. Well, you can't make her carry her bags. Right, what you said.
But you need to sit down and talk to her about it.
But on the other hand, she's got to understand that you walk with a limp over here because of that other thing.
Yes.
And that's part of the package. you're getting. So, because you're either going to marry someone that's the polar opposite of the crap you left, or you're going to do the same stupid thing again.
Right.
Is usually what happens. And so Larry Burkett used to say people run up a bunch of debt and then get divorced because of the debt, and they remarry, and then they run up a bunch of more debt because they didn't change anything.
Right.
They marry someone who looks just like the other one, and they do it again. And so there has to be a break in the cycle, because money is not the problem. It reveals the other problems.
Right.
And that's really good stuff, Alice. That's really good stuff. I appreciate you hanging through the break with us. And then, so the other end of the spectrum, we had a guy, I think I mentioned it last week. I can't remember which one of the personalities were co-hosting with me, but I had a lady call in one day and said, my fiance wants a prenup. I said, really? What's he got? He has a sports car.
Nope.
I said, he's not going to be your husband.
Right.
This guy loves his car more than he loves you. If he has to protect his car from you, he ain't the one.
Right.
So that's the other end of the spectrum on this, because everybody thinks a prenup's going to solve everything, and it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. And because you see all this in the tabloids with the Hollywood types and all these guys, the music types or whatever. Well, they had a prenup, and
No, I'm usually against them. I don't like the idea of starting a relationship with the foot out the door, right? Like
I don't want to plan the death while I'm alive.
That's right.
So I'm totally against them. But in extreme situations, it helps keep the crazy family members at bay, and it settles down the nerves so you can deal with the actual situations.